Let's look at the time. It's time to glaze. What's up, guys? That guy went. Oh no! Pencil here. Fun fact: I do me to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact. I mean, like, you realize I'd be pre-drawn for this manga, right? Like, that is an offer. That is an accolade only afforded to Blue Lock for years now. And there's only one other manga on the channel of the many manga I review that gets that off. You know how bad the glaze is that I can't even glaze properly? I got 50 minutes to tell you about my current thoughts on the state of Kagurabachi. So let's not waste any more time. Let me start this 50-minute timer before I keep fumbling on my words. And it's peak. It's peak. Let's not play these games here. It's Kagurabachi, dog. It's Kagurabachi. But you may be wondering, I Pencil Man, you glaze it, you review it for over 30 minutes at a time every week. But what is actually so peak about Kagurabachi right now? We haven't seen the main character of Kagurabachi for like 5, 6, 7 chapters at this point. What is absolutely going on that you're out here claiming that it's peak with no regard, no care in the world, no self-respect? You're just out here glazing. And to that I say, have we been reading the same weekly manga? Because this thing is some gas. Now, let me tell you why it's gas. There are multiple levels, and I'm going to break it down one by one. 1, the narrative. 2, the characters. And 3, the art/action, the double A. So let's start in the first, the narrative. So, we may be wondering, well, Pencil Man, what narrative is going on right now? It's just characters, on characters, throwing hands, and throwing hands, and throwing hands, and throwing hands, and throwing hands. And you're absolutely right. It is truly character after character after character after character after character after character after character, throwing hands, by hands, around hands. But you want to know what the narrative is? I don't know. Outside of the fact that the Kagurabachi headquarters is being invaded, the Sword Saint is moving, and the Hishaku have a plan. And that is the narrative. Well, obviously, there is also the narrative of Samura and Chihiro appearing who knows when, because we have no indication on where those two are, but supposedly they're about to teleport in. And that is the beauty of Kagurabachi's current narrative. It has laid a what am I talking about? It has laid a foundation. It has laid a groundwork for a narrative of simultaneous absolute certainty and absolute mystery. Simultaneous, and what do I mean by that? Let me slow down, let me enunciate, let me explain what I mean. What is the absolute certainty? The absolute certainty is that Chihiro and Samura are going to appear. The Sword Saint is going to do something. The Ishaku are going to do something. Everyone is here. Call it Smash Bros. Ultimate minus Hirohiko, that boy is still crying. But I have no idea what the Ishaku's plan actually is. Could it be just to free the Sword Saint in the system? As yours says, they are legitimately just a distraction. Maybe, possibly. I don't know, though. Hey, what on earth is taking Samura and Chihiro so long? What is the timeline there? I don't know. How will they influence the battle? I don't know. What is the Sword Saint activated? I don't know. But guess what? I'm engaged with all of those plot lines. So despite me knowing what's going to happen in a certain sense, I have no idea what's going to happen because I don't know what certain characters can do. I don't know what certain characters are going to appear. Heck, Natsuki Misaka showed up out of nowhere. He showed up straight up out of nowhere. And he's here now, and he's already one of my favorites just on his aura and his abilities and his backstory alone. And more specifically, his backstory, his aura, and his character dynamics. I'm bleeding in the character discussion here a little bit, but to stick to the narrative, he fits in. And I think that's the big thing that I like so much. All of what Kagurabachi has done so far is sort of like build to this. I'm not saying it's like is that spoilers? That's kind of spoilers. I don't want to say it, but like, actually no, it's been animated. It is kind of the Shibuya arc, in a way, of Kagurabachi, to the sense that we've done a whole bunch of character building. We've done a whole bunch of world building. We've introduced all these different characters. We explained some of their powers. We haven't explained some of them. We've set them up for these crazy mysteries and backgrounds and narratives, and we're intermixing all of them, and we're building characters or introducing characters who either exist in their own narrative, yet simultaneously have ties to the main narrative right now, or using characters who don't necessarily have ties to the narrative, yet are here now, and we're going to have to deal with them in that way. We have Kiri, we have Natsuki, we have Hokuto, we have all these different characters who have existed, and tie back into previous characters we've met, or characters in a direct way or a loose way. Kiri obviously ties back to Samura and why my brain lags so hard in Ura. Kiri obviously ties back into someone in Ura, with her being the grandchild of the creator of the DIY Purity style, which was a focal point of the previous pseudo arc when it was Hirohiko versus Chihiro, and obviously Chihiro versus Samura. So seeing her get introduced and seeing her fight is very, very cool, very, very interesting to see. Obviously, Hokuto is not necessarily the inciting incident. Obviously, Ura himself is the inciting incident, but seeing Hokuto here and actually getting to see Hokuto as a character in action is absolutely genuinely insane, considering he is the one who slayed one of the previous wielders of the Enchanted Blades and essentially allowed and facilitated the original arc of the manga against Sojo, while at the same time also being the one to strike down Kunishige Rokuhira, obviously gaining the ire of Uraha. And I know a certain someone wielding a certain sword named Enten is probably going to be real, real mad when they run into him. And that all makes sense. Once again, currently building on established aspects of the narrative and revealing more things. And obviously, Ura himself is just here and going absolutely crazy. Still a character just steeped in absolutely insane mystery, and the only one to seem calm in the storm of chaos. Overall, narratively, Gachikuda has just been cooking. But I obviously started to bleed into it. What about the characters, though, right? Like, especially characters like Kiri, who kind of showed up out of nowhere. Man, especially a character like Natsuki, who literally just didn't even exist. Like, we didn't know, did we even know the name of the previous Cloud Gouger wielder? But we're supposed to suddenly care that Natsuki Misaka's here, and he's here to avenge him and whatever. Man, even this Hokuto guy here, what about him, dog? Like, sure, cool. You slayed a guy that we barely knew anything about in Chapter 1. Whatever. I mean, you slayed a guy we don't even get to see the face of. Whatever. Who cares? That is what I would say if Hokuto Sensei wasn't an amazing writer and already gave these characters either fantastic personalities or amazing dynamics instantaneously. Kiri and Hakari, it's cinema. I already love the dynamic. Kiri not exactly know what the whole deal is with Hakari, but still respecting him and protecting him. Hey, that's really, really cool. Her having a fantastic dynamic with Uraha, one of my favorite characters already introduced in the manga so far, and having just a fantastic interaction, not just with the EIY Purity style as a whole, but very specifically the characters involved in it, from her own grandfather, Wayne the Boomer, to Uraha being a wielder and master of it, to Samura, presumably, once we get him here. That's going to be very interesting to see. She already has a bunch of character dynamics built in really, really well, and her character is also just really, really cool. I like woman wielding big sword. I like big sword. I like woman wielding big sword. Bada bing, bada boom. It's really, really cool. Then, of course, we have Hokuto himself. Yo, Hokuto, man, I know I should glaze Natsuki first, but I gotta get to Hokuto, dog. Hokuto's just so goated, dog. He's so good. Not only is he just a handsome fella, like let's all be honest, all right? Hokuto, he's a pretty handsome guy, but he also just has like the best personality imaginable. Him loving the smoke, him being playful about it, him engaging actively and happily with those who threaten him, rather than being terrified, rather than being locked in, and willing to respect everybody. Shoulder checking in Iso, one-handing. Well, admittedly, Kiri is here, but still one-handing Kiri, who's already shown to be relatively powerful, and very specifically holding off Natsuki while holding back, and at the same time going band for band with Uraha in the next chapter and going absolutely crazy and taking his fingers off. Like, it's just, he's just so cool. He's just so cool, and he's so hilarious too. I love Mr. Ragebait Supreme. Mr. You saved him for me, didn't you? And literally going to spill all the secrets without spilling really any of the secrets that are actually relevant to the narrative and us. Essentially, he gives a whole bunch of information that we already knew, but the characters in universe didn't know, so they get to get the bloodlust to him against him. At the same time, we still don't know anything about Yura and the general motivations of these characters, leading to one of the coolest fights in the I'm leading into the action in the art. Hold on, let me pause. But essentially, Hokuto is really, really fantastic. Hokuto's goated. And even Natsuki, a character who I was a little bit hesitant on at first, where I was like, it's alright, man. I don't really care too much about. They made him a lightning user. They made him a lightning user. Darn, I fall for it again. Something about lightning users just tickle my toes. What can I say? They tickle my toes in a fantastic sense, and he's fantastic. Not only does he just have a flat-out amazing design, but his character dynamics are still gas too. Him having this extreme, almost self-hatred for not being able to live up to Uraha and obviously Kunishige's standards. Him wanting to be the one who goes out of his way to deal with Hokuto, and obviously, the slayer of his own brother. And specifically, his dynamic with Uraha, like I said, a character who I already loved, is so good. Seeing how they have this really, and notably, it seems like it's almost a one-sided hatred, but her clearly engaged with it a little bit. It's just, the character writing is so good. All these new characters mixing so well with all these previously introduced characters. It's just gas. It's just gas. What can I say? It's just gas. It's all so good, and it feels so organic. Despite me, the only thing that didn't feel organic, at least a little bit, was Kiri's introduction. It did feel a little bit random, and it did feel like we like cut away from the certain tension of the arc for a little bit just to give her a full introduction. And even then, it does feel a little weird how like her abilities are explained here, but like that's the thing. It does feel a little weird, a little out of place, but I wouldn't really change it. Once again, especially considering Kiri's role in this arc, and her presumable role later on with her introducing her grandfather as a possible master that we're going to go have to hunt down because he's nowhere nearby. And obviously the overall macro narrative stakes of this arc probably ending up in a loss for hers in the grand scheme of things because the Sword Saint's likely going to get reunited with the Shinichi. Like, ultimately, building her in is necessary. And I get why it feels a little bit of hand-fist and a little bit heavy-handed, especially considering ultimately she doesn't actually do all that much. She saves Hakuri's life here and is currently just guiding and defending him, but the heavy hitters are still heavy hitters and still clearly a tier above. What on earth is that on my wall? Hold on, I need to commit a slaughter. Die! Oh my god, it lived. Oh, it's lit. Oh my, oh sweet mother of mercy, it lived. Oh, die. Die. Hold on. Please? Good. Parrot, I'm sorry. I completely lost. Am I going to cut that out? I don't have time to cut that out. We're sticking with it. But regardless, sorry, there's an insect on my wall. I'm going to keep curb stomping it as I talk. But essentially, Kiri's, despite feeling a little ham-fisted, is fine. Hokuto, fantastic. Natsuki, fantastic. And all these characters, like I said, are recently introduced and mentioned, yet they feel wholly organic based on their character dynamics being weaved into characters who already exist in this narrative, and just working really, really well. And obviously, the main thing that brings all this together, you don't have to talk about it. You know I'm itching to talk about it. It's the aura. It's just like, it's overflowing from these pages, dog. Like, there's just too much aura. The action in the art is so fantastic. Does Hokuzono Sensei have the best art of all new gen manga? No. I'm sorry. Boichi exists. Shiro Sasaki Sensei from Ichi the Witch fame exists. Kei Orana Sensei from Gachakuda fame exists. At times, Sakaburo Days author Suzuki Sensei exists. Nakaba Suzuki from Seven Deadly Sins fame and Fortnite's fame, they exist. Like, they're like, obviously, are there other people who have better like art in terms of art quality and detail? Yeah, but Hokuzono takes their skill set and makes everything look perfect. Amazing. The way that the action is drawn and feels so kinetic. Very specifically, the panel that always comes to mind in terms of like the recent current state of Kagurabachi that brings me to it is specifically this panel right here. The instant cut from Hokuto going to draw his blade to his arm literally being up in the air and him not even noticing it at first because Uruha moved that fast. Oh, it's gas! It's gas! And it's gas of the highest variety. And very specifically, the thing I love about Hokuto's, or not Hokuto, but I mean Hokuto too, but Urana Sensei, not Urana Sensei, the thing I love the most about Hokuzono Sensei's art and its action is how very specifically it all flows so smoothly. It basically feels animated. And that's something I typically only said for like peak prime JJK and current, or most current, like mostly recent Sakamoto days, where like, despite me reading a manga, it feels so animated. The way that the lines are blended so well, the way the action is shown, everything bleeds into itself so smooth that even in my review style, where I very specifically break every page down way too in depth and go step by step and bit by bit, it almost never feels interruptive. That's not a word, but it never feels interrupted. It all flows so smoothly, and it all builds into the characters. These characters are so deeply intertwined with how they are drawn and how they commit to violence in a way that it only strengthens them. Hokuto is only so fantastic a character because of how he reacts to getting his hand sliced off. The excitement, the amazement of the white purity style, the way he's able to combat and contract with Uruha and taking his own fingers off, showing his skill with a blade and his levels to his own combat. Uruha locking back in and regaining those instincts that were lost while Natsuki had never lost them at all, allowing him to dodge and engage in certain attacks. Yora's straight serenity in the midst of this crazy battlefield. All of this just builds onto the characters and the narrative. It all works together. I talked about the narrative and the characters and the action and the art, all as if they were separate things when all they do is work together and intermingle. It took a character who I thought felt a little bit blunt, heavy-handed, and weird in Kiri's introduction and made her fantastic by showing how well she uses her sword and her own body and her own strength and stats to interact with other threats in the universe and very specifically overcome them, leading to fantastic panels like this. That's the thing. All of Kagurabachi works together so well because none of the elements of it are necessarily independent. I'm sorry, I stopped stomping. I need to make sure it's still gone. But essentially, all the elements of Kagurabachi work together so well because none of them feel independent, despite me being able to identify them as independent. despite me being able to actually acknowledge the meta narrative or little narrative aspects of Kagurabachi, they all blend and mix so well that it all flows together. And notably, I'm saying all this being chapter 92 being one of my favorite chapters of the entire manga, one of my favorite chapters in New Gen generally, just because of how much it does, character work, action wise, all that. I know it's only gonna get better. Oh, we haven't even gotten to the Sword Saint. Samura and Chihiro aren't even here yet. We don't know what a majority of the Ashaka running around is going to do. Kiri and Hakuri are currently on the run. There is still so much we're building to, and it's already this gas. It's already this peak, and it feels like we're just barely getting started. We're just dipping our toes in. We're getting our toesies a little wet, and it's already this gas. Already. We're already cooking this much. The kitchen is burning down. So someone get the fire extinguisher. The kitchen is code red burning down. And that's beautiful. That's me. Kagurabachi so peak, man. It's over. I got 17 seconds though. Do I just keep blazing? What else do I like? Legit, what else do I glaze? I want to talk, but then again, I do want to make a separate video for Hokuto. I'll make a separate video for Uruha. Honestly, I think I haven't given these chapters. I made me really appreciate Uruha a whole lot more as a character. Or initially, it's just if you go back to when he was first introduced in my reviews, I was a little bit more indifferent to the character. Now I really like him. I want to make a video on Natsuki. I want to make a video on your. Okay, but I'm out of time. There's so many things I want to do with Kagurabachi. I'm gonna have to do eventually. But of course, if you made all the way to this video, please do me a favor and leave. Instead of eye for an eye, leave hand for a hand. I feel like that works. I didn't do that for the review house, did I? I hope not. But leave hand for a hand in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. So leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications so you know myself on any videos again of the channel. Also, I do happen to have a page down below where you support me for as low as $1 to get them on. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You'll also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks will include live reactions to other series I have to review and early videos, fully no ads and everything for my second channel, That Got the Reaction, where I react to any reaction or any video I want to. Some of them are very, very long. The first 2 videos for that channel are at least up already at the time of recording. We're not up, but they're prepared and going to go live at the time of recording. But they are currently up for patrons and members. They're an hour and 40 minutes and an hour and 55 minutes. And notably for that channel, I will do reactions to anything anybody wants, realistically. I'll do some of my own, but obviously I'm going to take requests over there. That'll drop once a week, Saturdays at 1 p.m. So go over there, check it out. Bada bing, bada boom. But if you made all of you in this video, I want to thank you once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Ura, Alex Kenny, Enzo, Swift Strike, Autumn Mornings Lazo, Super Flame Zero, Yuki Ally, Azo2404, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: Victor Raji, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Dread Owen, and A+A. I'd like to give a big old thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, Euchia, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. And I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: Jay Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Waki Munoz and Waki Munoz.